How's it going? Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. I want to encourage you to not confuse suspicion for wisdom. If you feel suspicious about something or suspect that something is amiss or might happen negatively for you, don't confuse that feeling with the wisdom of action to take. Many times that feeling indicates something, but it is often very much not a true indicator of what is going on. And many times it can be an indicator of what's going on inside of us personally rather than what's going on in the situation. Now, there are times when we have a discernment about something, when we see a pattern in something. That is not suspicion. That is not thinking something is going wrong that might go wrong. If you come from a place of fear and worry of pain and punishment or something happening to you and you're trying to defend yourself against something negative happening, that is the exact opposite of wisdom. That is the exact opposite of discernment. Fear and suspicion are opposed to wisdom and discernment, and they actually do not connect. They do not work together. They never complement each other. But often, when we're not realizing it, they appear the same to us. And so we look at a fear of something happening or a suspicion, and we treat it like it's wisdom and discernment. Because fear and suspicion come from a place of feeling powerless, of feeling like I have no power to do anything, to make choices, so I have to put walls up. Walls and boundaries are not the same thing, by the way, either. And so if you feel suspicious about something, if you feel fearful, like you have to defend yourself from something bad happening, that is not something that you can trust. And yet often we live our life based on trusting our feelings by associating what triggers us and how we feel as truth. I'm guilty of this often. There's a massive difference between truth and fear, between wisdom and suspicion, between worry and knowledge. You see, knowing about something and knowing it are not the same thing. Don't confuse worry and suspicion and fear of pain and punishment with wisdom of knowing what is right to do. Stop empowering what you fear and what you're worried about happening and start empowering what you hope for by speaking life and declaring the outcome that you want. And that's why declaration is so important. That's why making sure to build yourself up is more important than building protection and defenses and walls. But we live our lives believing that to build ourselves up, the only way to build ourselves up is by protecting ourselves, by defending ourselves from bad things happening to us. And we live at the whim of suspicion and fear and worry. And we allow those emotions to dictate our future and our life's actions. And this creates a vicious cycle of being right where you are right now, nothing bad ever happening to you. Or always being on a constant cycle of whenever you get close to your goal, it falls, it fails, you lose everything, it crumbles. Because you are essentially saying, I am a victim to the outside world around me to choose and create my world, and I have no power to influence what is happening around me. And that is the core belief that suspicion and fear and worry come from. Is the core belief that you are powerless and that unless you can control the situation, there's no power to do what you want to do, and that you have no power to create the future that you want. So you have to control from suspicion and fear what you are worried about happening. And in doing this, you are empowering the very thing that you are terrified of. You are empowering that thing to manifest in full force in your life. And that is why suspicion, fear, and worry are the absolute opposite of wisdom, because wisdom never empowers those things. It instead says, you know what? Those are there. Let's do the right thing. Let's do what's good. Let's stop being so worried about pain, punishment, fear, what might happen, what we're so much trying to avoid, and let's create what we want. I have the power to create my environment and my life and establish my life in a way that works for me, that serves me, by being respectful of other people and requiring respect and having respect for myself and living from a place of honor, humility, and respect. You see, honor, humility, and respect do not coexist with suspicion, fear, and worry. They cannot. So anywhere that there is suspicion, fear, or worry, honor, respect, and humility are non-existent, because we are comparing what we wish could be to what we have, and we are unsatisfied. And saying, I have to control this situation to get that outcome. And the belief that we can control other people always is disrespectful, dishonoring, and not from a place of humility. It's always self-seeking, because suspicion always tries to help itself, always tries to protect itself. And we get in this constant loop of believing that being suspicious and worried and fearful about what might happen is the wise choice. And this loop creates a hamster wheel of the life that we've had up to this moment in time, to where we prevent bad things from happening and we never take a risk and go after what our goals are. Because you can never go after your goals from a place that is opposed to respect, honor, and humility that comes from fear, suspicion, and worry. So I want to challenge you in this. If you've noticed that you've been playing a victim, or maybe feeling like you need to be the superhero in every situation, or maybe somebody's opposed to you, so you got to be the bad guy sometimes because you're suspicious of what's going on, and you're playing these roles, to start to take ownership over your life, to take ownership over the choices that you've been making, to get the help that you need, to ask for help, to go out there and to create the environment that you want. Creating the environment that you desire is never controlling other people, is never being suspicious, is never being worried, is never being anxious. It's always honorable, respectful, and humble, and uses wisdom. And so suspicion and wisdom are not the same. They are diametrically opposed from each other, and they can't coexist. So anywhere that one is, the other cannot be. And so take a look at your life and take ownership over. Take a look at, maybe you might be afraid of how this feels to look at this. Maybe this is an area in your life that you're worried to admit to yourself, admit and say, hey, listen, I've been doing this. I've been operating from suspicion, worry, and fear, and it's kept me from taking action and going after my goals and my destiny because I'm worried of what might happen. That's opposed to wisdom. Leave that behind. Take steps forward to where you're going. Make a choice and choose, not decide. Choosing and deciding are not the same things. A choice says, I'm going to choose this. This is what I want. Deciding weighs pros and cons, and it comes from comparison. Never go by comparison, because that's never wisdom. Choose, and then go after that and create the life that you want. And when you do that, you can then scale, expand, and grow your life to reach your goals. This isn't about striving. This is about flowing. This is about resting. This is about being peaceful and coming from a place of love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.